everyone, welcome to School of Scarlet. I'm so happy to have you here today. So today we're going to be talking about why are you on this spiritual journey. So I'm going to be going with you on this talk and talking about what it is that brought you on this spiritual journey and how you really have what you want right here and now. I'm also going to be giving you an amazing gift, so please stick with me to the very end. This is a gift that's coming straight from my heart, and it will be a limited gift for right now. So please stick with me so that you can get all that information at the very end. Okay, so to start off, I just want to share with you that most people that are on the path of, let's say, a spiritual journey, most people that are trying to get to this so-called enlightenment, this so-called awakening, those people are generally, when I question them, why are they on this journey? What has happened? Or what are they looking and seeking for? Most of them tell me one of two things: happiness, or they want to stop their suffering. So it's one of those two things pretty much 100% of the time. So people are looking for happiness and people are looking to end suffering. And so I want to kind of share with you my thoughts on that and what is really going on here and why this kind of feels like, and is really, if we really get down to it, it's really a futile type of seeking. This is something that we already have here and now, only we have to connect with that part of us that understands that, and we have to shift that mentality. We don't have to necessarily do that. We just have to connect with that side of us that is already aware of this, is already seeing this side of us that is so amazing. So we are here on this earth, you could say, as these human vehicles, right? We have these meat suits that we're in, you could say, and most of us have the understanding that we are not this body. At least most of the people I talk to have some sort of understanding or have had some sort of religious upbringing that has pretty much brought this into their consciousness that they are not this body. So we have that understanding, yet we so oftentimes fall trapped to believing everything about this body and believing everything that's happening with this body is truly who we are. So most of our suffering is actually coming from identifying very much so with this body. It's more of just identifying with the form rather than the formless. We truly are the formless, like we just said. If we really talk about it, if we really explore this, most people say that they are not the body. Yet, listen once again, we are all identifying more with the form than the formless. But if we make the shift to identify with the formless, then we begin to see a shift in our even physical reality and the experiences that we have. So it's a total shift of consciousness. And what I equate it to is a very simple metaphor that you could pretty much almost feel as real. And what that is moving from the brain to your heart and really functioning from your heart. See, your heart has its own intelligence. Your heart actually has a lot more energy, has a lot more power to transform everything that is that form into whatever it is that you want. So essentially, the heart is this safe space that's magical, that's untapped for most people. And it works totally differently. It doesn't work logically. It doesn't have this cause and effect, or we really don't know what it's going to do, how it works, or what. We just have to trust in that intelligence. And so when we trust in the heart, we trust in that intelligence is very opposite to the way the brain thinks. So the brain, let's say, sees suffering. Let's say there's something that is going to cause suffering and is absolutely terrified of it, shuns it, tries to get away from it, does everything it can to distract itself from that suffering. And you see, the heart space, once you're living from that heart space, the heart space doesn't see suffering as suffering. It sees it as almost like a blessing, because each time that the heart or the soul experiences this so-called suffering, it learns something about itself and it expands and opens more in its consciousness. It blossoms more, so it's growing. And so for the heart space, suffering or anything that happens, it doesn't have to be suffering. It could also be the most happy, joyous time of your life. It doesn't matter. It has no polarity. The heart space has no polarity, meaning it sees no good, no bad. It's neutral. So what I do in my course and my work that I do with y'all, and in my one-on-one sessions as well, is really get to the space of neutrality, getting to the space of what I call unconditional love. So my course is called the Unconditional Course because that is the space that we try to access, the heart space. And if you follow that course, you will open your heart space. You will have to, because if you follow that course and you go through all of those modules and you do those things, there is no way that your heart is not going to be opening. And your heart, you see, it's not about opening and closing. These are metaphors for you to imagine. It's truly a space that's, like I say, in the formless. You can't really pinpoint where it is. You'll come to find out it is everywhere, and you are everything and nothing at once. This journey of spiritual awakening, or your spiritual journey, truly is not a journey about happiness, because happiness is also impermanent. It just comes and goes. Happiness is just like an emotion. It's just anything. It's not something that we permanently abide in. Of course, when you have or you live from the space of heaven on earth, you abide more in, I would say, a more positive space for the most part than maybe I had before. But it doesn't mean that you won't have spaces where you feel sad, angry. You still experience all the range of the emotions. So to say that enlightenment is what you're seeking because you want to experience happiness and bliss at all times, you are going to be sorely disappointed, because although you will experience bliss that maybe you've never experienced before, you will still experience some of these other emotions, because that's natural. It's natural for the human to do that. At the end of the day, you are still expressing in whatever form you're expressing in. So bliss, when you hear an enlightened person talking about bliss or their joy, it doesn't mean that they're not experiencing the other emotions as well. So my brother and I would play this game called Mortal Kombat. And so I would pick a character that I really liked. And so I would find one that I identified with. And when I was playing that game, I would say it was me. I would say I won, or I did this. And so I completely identified with it. And one of the things that I can recall my brother doing was he would literally be playing, with the controller, and I would look and he'd be kicking with his legs. Like he would be kicking, his body would be reacting to what was happening in the game without his control. He wasn't doing this consciously. So what begins to happen is that what's really happening is there is no separation. You are one with everything. You are one with the divine. But in order to experience all of the infinity, all of the experiences we have to have an experience of separation. So we have to begin to separate parts of ourselves, within ourselves. This is not happening within the form. This is happening what I would call the capital M mind. And so we have to separate these parts of ourselves to create these experiences. And so when that is understood, when that's seen, there is no more actual duality. We, of course, can see it happening and playing out in the form, but you have the greater understanding of the non-dual nature of everything and how everything is truly nothing and everything at once. And there is literally no separation, and there can never be any separation. So when you have this understanding, your view of anger, sadness, or anything is just an ingredient that needs to go into that pot to create the experience that is wanting to be experienced. See, infinity, God, source, whatever you want to call it, loves all experiences, wants to experience all of its creation, all of infinity. And so because of this, it doesn't judge. It's not biased. It doesn't say this experience is good, that experience is bad. It allows all to happen. So when you recognize this and you so-called become enlightened, what happens in that moment is that all distinctions fade away. Everything closes down into one. So you can have lots of, let's say on a computer, you have lots of windows open, or maybe on your phone, you have lots of windows open. Suddenly you have this experience of singularity, of everything coming to one, and all of those windows suddenly close instantly, and there's no more windows open. And if a window is open, if it ever opens up again, it's seen that really all the windows are closed. It's just that they pop out at different times to create different experiences, to allow you to see certain things that you wouldn't see in total non-duality, which is actually nothing. So in order to create experiences, we actually need duality to happen. So the real path, the spiritual journey or the path that people are on, is really a self-discovery into the true reality of nature. It's an exploration of what you truly are. And to do that, you must explore yourself first, your form, what you are. And from there, you will expand more and more. There seems to be two parts of life. It seems to be there's this part of life that we are very, very unconscious to everything. We are very identified in who we are. We really believe ourselves to be these characters. And so we're doing everything we can to make this character the best character that it can be. And it's also in this form kind of trying to, it believes the world to be true. It believes all the others to be true. So it's looking to please others. It's looking to gain acceptance from others. It's looking to move up. It's looking for love, many different things. And so this kind of life continues on for quite a while. And for some people, at some point, some of this becomes unbearable. It becomes like a fake life. It becomes like they're living a lie. And so it becomes that they do some introspection and begin to shift into a different sort of consciousness, a consciousness that's no longer so strongly identified in this character. It begins to unravel these parts of itself and say, hey, to hell with it, I don't care. And so it starts to kind of outgrow the character that it was in. And so it wants to expand. And to expand, it literally has to go into a different level of consciousness. Or you could say it has to go into the heart. It has to go into a consciousness that's not working directly and only with the brain or the ego or the identified self. It has to go into the unknown. And in the unknown, everything begins to change. Things that made sense at one time no longer make sense. Things that couldn't happen or wouldn't happen in a lifetime now happen within a month. Miraculous things happen, health improves, everything begins to return to wholeness. And so this is the experience of really awakening. And it's a shift from this identified, I'd call it false self, to your true, authentic, absolute self that encompasses all of infinity. And the more that you can allow and accept as part of you, because you are everything, the more that you will be in line with what you truly are, because you are everything. But as you begin to resist things and say that I'm not that, or I don't want that, then that is when we begin to experience more of those emotions that we say are not bliss. The emotions of anger, sadness, anxiety. So long as we identify with our unconditional self, our unconditional love, and our sacred heart, then we experience what you want to call bliss. So to truly be in bliss, to have the awakening path that you want, you have to accept all. You have to come into a space of unconditional love within yourself, and so it will also be reflected outwardly into what you see in your experiences. So to do this, I have found the most practical way is to create a course called the Unconditional Course. It allows you to align with your own sacred heart. Now this course, I've put it out and I've had 3 groups of students that have gone through this course. And this course has been amazing. But this course is a course that I would like to offer to everyone because I want you to feel abundant. I want you to have the experience and the privilege of connecting with your own sacred heart. This should not be something that should be hidden behind a wall. So although I will offer other additional courses, I am now offering the Unconditional Course completely and totally free to you as a gift. And so this is a limited time offering that we'll be offering to see how this goes. And so this is your time. If you have been wanting to take this course, if you have been kind of having your heartstrings pulled and wanting to explore this, go ahead and sign up now. I will leave the link in the comments down below. I will also leave my information in the description, or you can email me directly if you have any questions or need any help setting up. You can do this directly through Teachable, and everything on this course will be on there for you to access. If you wanted to purchase any of the additional courses and things like that that do include one-on-one sessions or group live sessions and things like that, that is on there again for you. But the basic and what I would consider the foundational course would be the unconditional course. So if you haven't taken the unconditional course, I really invite you to go ahead and sign up. Do this for yourself. Dedicate some time for yourself to go through this course and really do it in a way that is for you. It's not just to pass the time. Really do the exercises to connect with your heart so that you can begin living from that heart space and experiencing everything that you've ever wanted to experience on this path. Because you see, it's as simple as just abiding and following your heart. But so many of us are so far from that, and I was one of those people. So I have created this course for you with myself in mind, what would have helped me at those times. So that I hope that you will take this offering and that you will sign up, and I am right here for you at schoolofscarlet@gmail.com if you have any questions, anything that you need help with. So this talk really today was to talk about, why are we on this spiritual path? Well, we talked about it. We're on it for most part because we want happiness, because we don't want to experience all of this suffering. And so when everything flips, when we go and we abide in the space of unconditional love, we experience something called neutrality. And in that space, nothing is neither good nor bad. It just becomes what it is. It's an experience. And in that experience, we discover it's always in our highest good. So we feel trusted, we feel loved, we feel held in this life. And so now we are in this kingdom, or the heaven on earth, as I like to call it. Well, if you like this talk, please share it with others, like and comment down below. And I hope that you'll have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will look for you in the unconditional course. I love you all.